reminded of a young man, a gymnast, I guess, at Temple University, and he was the kid who climbed the poles, which weren't greased, by the way. In the past, it was a tradition to grease the poles, and lost his life. And I looked him up. My sister mentioned, like, oh my God, I didn't know how bad it was. I just remember seeing news of someone falling, but there was no word on his condition. But he, I guess, succumbed to his injuries, or however you say that. And yeah, that's really sad for the parents and family, or anyone who knew him. And like, it's kind of weird that all this festivity, like, I've totally been there, people celebrating this, that, and the other, meanwhile someone is experiencing the worst pain of their lives. Whether it's the loss of a child, whether someone got totally hoodwinked and raped to death, or harassed to death and being kept on some sort of crazy making machine and having no idea what to do about it. And whenever someone experiences a trauma, I feel really bad for that guy and his family. He was from Toronto at Temple University, and I totally get it. Like, all these people are going on life as normal, while someone else is suffering the worst tragedy of their lives and their worst trauma. And what kind of people, are we? Or say someone set that kid up. Say he was actually set up to climb a pole and urged and, like, encouraged. And he was a gymnast. Like, in a way, he was a college athlete. So that's technically, like, a pretty big accomplishment, you know what I mean? So not many people are in that position. And what if someone actually heavily encouraged him, coerced him, and, like, climb the pole, what was it that made him decide to do that? And then what made him fall? They used to put up signs, grease the poles, grease the poles, grease the poles, and people would know, like, don't risk it. Like, in a way, you would kind of think twice, but no signage about greasing poles this year. So I'm kind of curious why. Unless it was a setup. Does Philly still operate on a sacrificial payment plan? Careful. Like, that guy crossed the street. And when you're confident in the city, like, you can kind of make it, but I don't want, just in case, I'll hold off. It's slippery, it's snowing, Now, if I had followed that guy and slipped and fell and the driver didn't notice it, or had already accelerated to a certain point, he could have easily run over, and it looked like an accident. And we have this guy all across the crosswalk, dropping off some girl. I guess I'll cross over now. Before too many cars come into play. So that's the downside. I realize, big events like Super Bowls and championships, like, life goes on. People, it's just something to consider. Like, that kid's parents and family are, like, incredibly, like, they're just in shock and trauma for, like, how many parents lose a child, you know what I mean? In the prime of that child's or life. Oh, sorry. So anyway, something to think about. And how many people set up other people on purpose to be harmed? And do they feel badly about it? Do they have remorse? Why do they think it's okay to do that? All that. Grace Kelly. The Grace Kelly spot down there. In the 1213 lobby. I have a couple videos of Grace Kelly. And some people believe snow falling represents, like, people falling from God, falling from grace, falling from whatever. Like, it could be death. So in a way, this kid who was an actual college athlete at Temple University, you know, made one dumb decision. He decided to climb a pole, probably at the urging of friends or acquaintances or what have you, and it cost him his life. And is that a snowfall? Now, I don't know exactly what he looked like. He was from Canada, but some people could see it in a racial format, like snow falling. And, you know, even religious, like if you're more Christian based, maybe that's snowfall to some people, you know what I mean? So, something to think about. I just can't imagine setting someone up to be harmed psychologically, physically, possible death by either psychological or physical means. So, what kind of person actually does that? Death junkies is what an old friend of mine would say. They're the death junkies, they're the death junkies. And who do they think they are? They think they know everything on Earth? They think they know more than everybody? So every single person on this planet has his or her own knowledge base based on their life experiences and or education or whatever. So in a way, we all, you know, have our own smarts, street smarts, book smarts, both smarts, enough smarts, you know.